Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. There's growing pressure on the Tasmanian government to release a long-awaited report into the state's harness racing industry. It's amid growing concerns that delays are creating more uncertainty and turning people away from the sport.
A sector shrouded in controversy and left waiting in limbo.
It certainly has an effect on everybody in racing. Not a good thing to have thrown over your industry. Is there any question marks?
It's been almost 6 months since Ray Murray was first enlisted to independently probe the state's harness racing sector after damning allegations were levelled, revealing concerns of race fixing, team driving and poor animal welfare.
These are issues that are absolutely critical to the future of the industry, and we need to make sure that we deal with them properly.
Findings have yet to be delivered after being delayed multiple times, with industry heavyweights fearing it's having detrimental impacts.
Families are not getting to the races. Families, trainers are disappearing from the industry, and the lack of confidence is certainly there.
We know the vast majority of participants in this industry are great people who are doing the right thing, and they don't deserve to be dragged through the mud by this process.
Labor is urgently calling for the interim report to be released.
We need to make sure we get the report out as quickly as possible so that we can provide the clarity about what happened and how we need to improve to make sure we can have a strong racing industry into the future.
The government says it is working through the preliminary report and industry issues.
So there's plenty of work underway, and we're looking forward to having a deep and comprehensive report to work with later in the year.
With the summer racing season just down the track, the clock is ticking to lift a cloud of doubt. Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's billion-dollar construction industry is on track for an explosion of new builds. Master Builders says the government will need to do more, though, to cement a strong workforce if it wants to make the most of a potentially golden opportunity.
Building itself back up after COVID knocked it down, Tasmania's construction industry is showing signs of a strong future. Master Builders' 2024 forecast report predicts that in the next 5 years, Tasmania will see a reduction in supply chain issues. Housing construction will increase with, on average, 3,000 new properties each year. Non-residential builds are also set to surge. In total, building activity is expected to be worth almost $4.5 billion in 2025.
It shows how crucial the stadium, both at Mac Point and York Park, are going to be for the construction industry, but also for the broader economy.
More than 3,000 apprentices are currently fine-tuning their trades in Tasmania, but many more hands will be needed to make light work. A funding cut to construction qualifications complicating growth.
These are the courses, the accredited courses required as prerequisites to be eligible for a building licence.
The government has pinned all of its hopes on its TAFE reforms, and frankly they haven't improved anything so far. In fact, things appear to be getting worse.
The report also estimating more than 1 in 10 licence holders will retire in the next 2 years.
To replace those people, we need to train over 350 new builders. Now, if you just take a look at the numbers that are currently in training at the moment, we're not going to meet those targets.
We'll keep working with the industry, we'll keep investing as well and encouraging them to invest as well in the trainees and apprentices that they need to meet the pipeline of work.
Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Deloraine High School has opened the doors to a new training facility. Its Design Engineer Create shed will give automotive and advanced manufacturing students a dedicated space to master their skills. Grades 9 to 12 building the shelves and tables inside to make it their own.
This style of education is really about deeply engaging students so that we can cement and concrete skills that they learn in literacy and numeracy in hands-on ways. The
facility was built with $1 million of state government funding. The Anglesey Barracks in Hobart now feature a colourful mark of respect to legacy, a grevillea variety being planted nationwide to commemorate the charity's 100th year of supporting veterans' families, and it was planted at the barracks today.
The long flowering red-orange flowers of it resonates with the torch symbol.
The Grevillea Legacy Flame is available from Bunnings, with a donation from every sale helping continue the organisation's ongoing work. Days out from the State League Grand Final, a long-lost piece of local footy history has gone on display. The Premiership Trophy, awarded during the game's heyday, disappeared in the mid-1980s until it was uncovered in a box at North Hobart Oval.
This picture tells us more than words could. Trevor Leo full of relief in 1968 after bringing the statewide cup to New Norfolk for the first time.
It was like giving the community something to be proud of. And they were.
Noel Leary won this trophy 5 times, including in 1979. Captain coaching Clarence to that famous win over Glenorchy in front of a record crowd.
Clarence did really well because we were the underdog. I haven't held it since that day, and I'm not sure whether I could hold it now, but I was able to on that day.
From 1965 to 1982, this was the ultimate prize during the game's golden era, but it disappeared in the 1980s, long considered lost to history. 2 footy historians struck gold in 2019, finding it under the Roy Kazali stand at North Hobart Oval.
It had cobwebs and dust on it, and I thought it looked unusual. All I could read on it was TFL Premiers.
You look at the teams that are on it, it means something, yeah.
Amazingly, no replicas were made for the Premiership teams. It's back in public after a 4-decade absence. Some of the game's lost icons, teams and memorabilia also on show at the State Library. None more special than the era's Holy Grail.
When I thought this is the one and only trophy that sort of John Bingley had held, and Trevor Leo and Noel Leary and Peter Hudson, that was sort of had to sit down and sort of take note.
For Trevor, he's hoping it'll get a clean-up.
I've polished it up if I'd known. A bit shabby, isn't it?
Celebrating the game's past ahead of its new dawn. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Meanwhile, local footy's best and fairest player will be crowned tonight at the Alastair Lynch medal count. Reporter John Hunt joins us now from KG5. And John, someone will enter into history this evening.
That's right, Kim. The votes have been tallied and checked, with the winner of Tasmanian football's most prestigious individual honour set to be revealed later tonight. Lauderdale ruckman Sam Siggins is one of the main favourites. The Crips Player of the Year had another stellar season at the Southern Bombers, also playing a starring role in Tasmania's thrilling win over Queensland. If he does get up, he will enter rare territory, potentially joining Jay Bowden as a 3-time medal winner. Ben Simpson is another hot contender. The North Launceston player has also had a great year on field. Kingborough Jack Tompkinson and Lockie Clifford should also pull well. And Kim, it's the beginning of a big week for the league, culminating in Saturday's grand final between Kingborough and North Launceston. You've just got to love September.
Sure do. Thank you very much there, John. The number of electric cars on our roads is set to surge, with a poll revealing more than half of Tasmanians want their next vehicle to be battery powered. But a lack of supply may prove to be a handbrake on interest as car companies sell their electric stock in other countries.
Switched on today, a new charging station at Northgate is part of the drive to improve electric vehicle take-up.
New sites are opening about 1 a month, and some of the existing sites are already expanding or planning to expand in the next few months.
More public charging infrastructure is key, according to a poll by the Tasmanian Policy Exchange.
With the significant increase in EVs, we have to keep working on that.
Also finding more and more Tasmanians are looking to charge up their daily drive. Half of the respondents were likely or very likely to make the switch.
Well, it is good news for the environment particularly, because it will mean lower emissions. But there are a lot of challenges still to come.
Though the cost is coming down, price is still a prohibitive factor, but so is supply. Australia doesn't have vehicle emission standards on new cars. It means manufacturers are incentivised to sell their limited stock of EVs elsewhere,
where they can reduce their penalties for not meeting the emission standards. They don't bring them here.
We have been in touch with the federal government. We do believe it's important that we introduce standards that make low emissions vehicles more available here.
A preferred model for emissions standards is expected to be released by the federal government before the end of the year. Supply challenges are expected to ease as more businesses invest in fleets. That should fuel a second-hand market and even more interest. All worth it for those with the need for speed.
Frankly, they're just fun to drive.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Several community groups have come together, all in the name of harmony and goodwill. A new reflecting garden and peace poles have been unveiled at the Northern Community Centre, showcasing the message, "May peace prevail on earth," in 20 different languages.
It's good for us to educate ourselves on other people's cultures and languages, and today and the Peace Garden just encourages that.
A special mosaic art piece showing the hands of friendship of the migrant women has also got on display ahead of International Peace Day on Thursday.
North Launceston is backing itself in after booking a spot in the TSL's Big Dance. The Bombers head into Saturday's decider against Kingborough as the underdogs, but say they're in with a fighting chance. Taking the quick 6-day turnaround to learn from their qualifying final loss to the Tigers.
I think this week we'll just be trying to get our momentum going forward. Probably try not to save the game as much and just throw everything at them and just see where it takes us.
The Bombers and Tigers will fight for Premiership glory at North Hobart Oval on Saturday afternoon. Some of the country's top cyclists will put pedal to the metal across the state's north and northwest when the Tour of Tasmania returns later this year. Billed as one of Australia's most prestigious bike races, it's also an important stepping stone for competitors eyeing off an international career.
At 23, Richie Port tasted success at his home race. 15 years later, the local legend says the Tour of Tasmania is still hard to beat.
The terrain in Tassie lends itself to brilliant racing, and it's something for every style of rider.
First raced in 1930, it's one of the country's oldest and most iconic cycling tours.
It's one of the toughest, just purely because of the terrain. We make it a really hard race with all of the hills.
The 5-day event returning to Tasmanian hands after years with mainland organisers.
It's just a great opportunity to be able to showcase what I think is so awesome about Tassie.
The final race in the Australian Road Series, a victory here can open paths to further glory.
For all of the riders who are trying to finish first, it's the race to win.
Tasmanian terrain and weather making for an ideal launch pad for those with international ambitions.
Tour of Tassie's the race in Australia that's probably the most European race on the calendar.
Non-elite riders keen to test themselves against the best are welcome at a Launceston prologue. But a promise, the field won't be taking it easy.
I've been retired for 1 year and I wouldn't like to take on the young whippersnappers now either.
The Tour of Tasmania begins on November 8. Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian motocross riders are on a high after a big weekend at the AROC Championships in Kyogle. Senior riders Kyron Bacon and Jonty Reinders blitzing the competition, each riding away with category wins, even going 1-2 in yesterday's overall competition. The weekend's efforts closing the E2 gap for Reinders, now sitting in third with 2 rounds to go. Bacon is in 4th position in the E1 class, with only 14 points separating him from first. He'll be packing his bike for Portugal later this week.
Good evening. Well, not a great day for hay fever sufferers, was it today? Breezy conditions, blowing pollen everywhere. I hope I won't need my hanky for the next couple of minutes or so, but it's ready. Hobart 19 today, Launceston and Burnie 17, Devonport a top of 15. Friendly Beach is the high with 20 as temperatures hovered around or just above average. Bushy Park 19, St Helens 18, Flinders Island 17, King Island and Low Head 16 today and Strawn 15. High cloud over Bass Strait today with just some scattered low cloud over the northwest and southwest of the state. Now that high cloud emanates from southern WA. It pushes through Victoria as well. A frontal band is over the southern ocean with the rest of the country clear. Tomorrow, troughs extend across the mainland and that front moves closer to Tasmania, causing the pressure gradients to tighten. Now, that will in turn increase the wind speeds tomorrow as the northwesterlies shift up a gear to 30 to 40 knots over the west and south and to 35 knots over the rest of the coast and the southwest lakes. So, of course, we have a severe weather warning that's on for a large area. You see there in the dark shading, wind gusts up to 100 kilometres likely. We have a gale warning from St Helens Point all the way around the state to Flinders Island and for the southwest lakes. A strong wind warning for all remaining coastal waters and inland lakes. Hobart for Tuesday, 21, a late shower moving in, the winds picking up. Venture Bay 19 the top and 16 for Tarraleah with showers increasing. Launceston 19, a windy showery day, 17 for Devonport, becoming windy, a few showers about. Bridport the same and 16 degrees. Burnie expecting a top of 16, Strawn 16, Marrawar 16, all with that same sort of forecast. And along the east coast, partly cloudy and windy. St Helens 20, 20 for Swansea and 19 degrees for Whitemark. A showery, windy day on Wednesday. Temperatures back on the cool side, unfortunately. Another shower for King Island and the west on Thursday as the winds ease a bit. And on Friday, a fine partly cloudy day, apart from a shower over the west and far south. Cloudy weather in Perth, 22 the top in Adelaide and fine. A sunny 26 for Melbourne tomorrow. Sydney warming up to 33 and partly cloudy and 26 in Brisbane. Cool here, 12 degrees in Hobart at the moment, 12 in Launceston and 12 in Devonport. Yes, one of the unwelcome realities of spring, Kim, the hay fever. In fact, hay fever was first diagnosed in ancient Rome. The first case was Julius Caesar.
I like your diagnosed as well. Don't think you realised you said that. And that is all your news for now. We'll have news, sport and weather updates later. Thanks for joining us for our 6 p.m. bulletin. For now, it's good night.